Speaking of the Bengals,
you're welcome.
Breach, we'll let you gloat here. I thought that the Cardinals had a chance to win this game. Josh Dobbs had not thrown an interception all year. He was completing 70% of his passes. We knew that Joe Burrow was not himself, but he suddenly looked to be himself once he got to Arizona there. And he said after the game that the first touchdown he threw, that laser in the back of the end zone, probably to Jamar Chase, because I think he threw 18 touchdowns to Jamar. He said that made him feel like he was pretty close to back. He had a longer scramble later in the game. He looked pretty athletic there as well. Are the Bengals still alive? Because I was the one last week talking about, look, man, shut it down. The season's over. And you said all you got to do is get to the bye. So 1 down, 1 to go, right?
Get to the bye. And also, as Brenton mentioned in Slack earlier, all my picks suck this week. The only team that came through for me was the Cincinnati Bengals, who I said would dominate this game. And Joe Burrow finally looked like Joe Burrow. I mean, that was the thing, is that, look, number one, he can't throw the deep pass. He had not been able to do it all season. He was 2 for 22 through 4 weeks. He couldn't put a bunch of weight on the cap to throw the deep ball. Well, guess what? He threw an absolute dime on a 63-yard TD, Jamar Chase. So it was huge to see that. Wilson, you mentioned that he scrambled. He had a 10-yard scramble at a key point in this game. Joe Burrow was not that was an element of his game that was just gone this year because of the calf. That's back in play. And then the touchdown pass you're talking about was him kind of dancing around in the pocket and moving around and evading the pass rush and then throwing for a score. That also wasn't there the first 4 weeks. So this is absolutely the closest Joe Burrow has looked to being Joe Burrow. And here's the thing is that, look, a lot of doom and gloom with the Bengals through the first 4 weeks. We had it on this podcast. Are the Bengals done? It was a nightmare 4 weeks. But at the end of the day, we're through 5 weeks.
What's your record?
Burrow looks better, and the Bengals are 1 game out of first place. If you would have told a Bengals fan after week 2 with Burrow's calf and they're 0-2 that they'd be 1 game out of first place going after week 5, any fan would have taken that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the positive spin that you put on this.
Is there a negative spin from a 34-20 win?
Well, you as a 3-point road favorite beat Josh Dobbs and
that beat the Cowboys. That was within 1 score of the 49ers last week.
The transitive property doesn't apply in the NFL, so please don't be trying to use that. You beat is a 3-point road. Look. Hey, by the way, shut up.
Okay,
so
winning an NFL game by 2 touchdowns isn't impressive.
I picked the Bengals as one of my best bets on the Brinson versus Coach, where I'm representing the Pick Six podcast and currently getting my ass kicked. And he had the Cardinals, so that's a good flip. I picked them. I like the Bengals this week a lot. I had them as one of my best bets on the bet show on Thursday. I'm just saying that, like, I think here's my concern: the Bengals railroaded the Rams a few weeks ago, and it was Joe Burrow. They were 0-2, and Joe Burrow goes, "We have to win this game. It's a must-win game. We cannot lose this game." And he comes out, they play great, and then what happened the next week? They got dog stomped by the Titans. And then this week they're playing Breach. This week they're playing the Cardinals, by the way, who's supposed to be the worst team in football. And they're starting Josh Dobbs, lose James Conner, really don't have a whole lot in terms of their roster. And the Bengals win 34-20 on the road. Look, double-digit touchdown, 2 touchdown win on the road, always good. But Burrow also said the same thing. We cannot lose this game. This is a must-win game. We have to win this game. So my concern is there a letdown versus Seahawks? And if there is, do the Bengals then fall to 2-4 going to the bye? Like, this is good. You won. You look good. Optimism reigns supreme. But if you lose to the Seahawks in week 6 and go into your bye 2-4 with the Niners and the Bills coming out on the backside, you're kind of in a bad spot.
Yeah, but I think the takeaway is that Joe Burrow is back, number one, and that's the whole point of the conversation. They could easily lose to the Seahawks. The Seahawks are not a bad football team.
Well, I'll say 2 things to that real quick. Is number one, the Rams game where they won 19-16. That wasn't a Joe Burrow was back game. He still couldn't throw downfield. He was dinking and dunking the entire time. The defense won that game.
Joe Burrow's on steroids.
I'm saying he wasn't back in that game. That he
How
played
did he
average
magically
football.
get back this week, though? Then that doesn't make any sense.
He didn't re-injure his calf. It's healing every week as long as he doesn't have a setback, and he hasn't had a setback. It's just called medical science, normal medical science.
So, Breach, according to
which Brenton does not believe in, by the way.
According to playoffstatus.com.
Brenton still uses leeches. Sorry.
I do use leeches. I love blood.
According to playoffstatus.com, which I found on the old internets here, Breach, how do you feel about at 2-3, the Bengals playoff chances at 24%?
I feel they're 0-2 in the division, so that's not ideal, and that's probably why They are so low. But again, they're a game out of first place. And if Burrow's healthy, they feel like the best team in the North.
So currently, as it stands, the Steelers are in first place in the North. The Ravens are a wild card seed, or Ravens are the 6th seed as a wild card at 3-2. The Colts at 3-2 are the 5th seed, and the Bills are 3-2 as a 7th seed. Cleveland, LA, Houston, Tennessee, the Jets, and then the Bengals. Yeah, they're right in the mix.
Right.
All right. So I think that's a big win. I mean, it's hard not to be a big win. That seems, especially for, and correct me if I'm wrong, Breach, when's the last time they scored a touchdown on the road?
They got their first half touchdown of the year in this game. It took 5 weeks for them to score a touchdown in the first half.
Right.
And real quick, shout out to Jamar Chase, who set the franchise record with 15 receptions, broke the record held by Carl Pickens.
Yeah, that was something else. By the way, it's I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. It's a step in the right direction when NFL retweets the fact that Jamar broke the record, and then also retweets the audio and video of him saying, "I'm always effing open." I was like, all right, that's the message received. Joe Burrow finally got that message because he could actually throw the ball overhand and step into it.
Well, let me ask you guys this real quick. Wilson, ask you first, since your team is in first place.
Oh,
do you think your Steelers stay in first place?
No.
And who do you think
question.
wins the division if not?
If Burrow's healthy, let's see what they do. But I'll go with the Ravens. But the Ravens cannot stop shooting themselves in the foot. And let's go there because Brinson, this team has found ways to lose in overtime to the Colts at home, and then found ways to lose on the road to the Steelers. Joey Porter had something like negative 50 interceptions in his college career at Penn State. Somehow he gets an interception in the end zone late in the fourth quarter. Then instead of putting the Ravens up by 2 scores, gives the ball back to you don't want to give the ball back to Matt Canada in that situation. And for the first time all season, they throw bombs to George Pickens, who apparently is pretty good, and it works his way into the end zone, and they end up winning that football game. But what are we to make of the Ravens? We just talked about the Bills sort of being hot and cold. We talked about the Cowboys being underwater and freezing in this game in Santa Clara. The Ravens, on paper, with Joe Burrow's injury, are the best team in the division. They play like they're deep down inside they want to be the Steelers.
I think the issue I have with the Ravens is that it feels like what they're doing on offense is purposely intended to get away from Lamar Jackson running the ball, because that's what Greg Roman did, and try to be this Todd Monken air raid system without incorporating, so Todd Monken's brother, Jeff Monken, is the head coach at Army and runs a triple option. Why aren't you running some triple option and running some air raid and just blending them together? Air raid is basically a passing version of the triple option, because you have one guy who has 3 decisions to make, whether in the triple option is handoffs. In the air raid, it's the same routes that you're running every single time. I think that they're so focused on Lamar Jackson not being not being a running quarterback, because they hired this new OC and gave him all this money, that they're kind of limiting themselves offensively, instead of make Lamar Jackson this massive threat as a runner, so teams creep in, and then you can go up top on them. I think that they're it's a accidental hampering of their offense. And yeah, dude, credit to the Steelers defense. They kept him in this. I mean, I think CBS, and I think it was Ian Eagle was on this call. I think we cut to Matt Canada more times than NBC cut to Taylor Swift on Sunday night. They just kept going to these Matt Canada offensive coaching box spots, and he's just rubbing his forehead, his bald forehead, and he's I just really can't figure out what to do. And then lo and behold, the Steelers block a punt, get the ball back, and it could have been a touchdown. I mean, Kenny Pickett's clutch. I think
he's not clutch.
Okay, I think Kenny Pickett's a gamer who is not going to be. That throw to Pickens was sick.
Great. He's an NFL quarterback. He's had exactly one. He's thrown for 2 touchdowns in one game exactly once in his career.
Matt Canada's the problem. The Steelers
Kenny Pickett's a problem too. I've gone back and watched all his throws, and he got hurt last week on a throw. If he just thrown the ball, he wouldn't have gotten hit. But I mean, it's not good. The offense stinks.
He's not great. He's not great. Yeah.
Well, you know what Kenny Pickett didn't do on Sunday against the Steelers? He didn't turn the ball over twice in the fourth quarter.
That's true.
Because you mentioned Lamar's interception, but he also lost a fumble the next possession, and then that set up a Steelers field goal, which essentially iced the game. So I mean, you can't.
The Ravens gave that game back
twice in the fourth quarter.
No,
the Ravens gave that game back to the Steelers.
And Ron Stanley, the left tackle, got whooped, to your point, Breach, by Alex Highsmith on that strip sack, and that didn't help. And yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things, and it's crazy because Steelers have now won 6 of the last 7 of these matchups somehow against the Ravens. This is only the 4th time in 9 games that Lamar has played because of injury, and I thought there was no way on planet Earth that the Steelers going to let alone win, cover the -4.5 or the +4.5 they were getting. And here we are, just watching some truly ugly football. Luckily, I didn't see every play. I'll go back and watch it at some point when I have.
What do you think the odds? And I'm looking up right now, so I don't know the exact answer, but I'm going to check. What do you think the odds are for to win the AFC North?
It's in terms of wins or who's going to do it?
Like who? Like I would guess.
I would imagine the Ravens.
Yeah, Ravens probably like +200, +220.
Ravens, Browns, Steelers, and probably Bengals. Maybe Bengals.
No, the Bengals can't be last. The Bengals are second, I bet.
Bengals are last.
They are? What? I'm betting it all right now.
This on DraftKings. Just got it open. Ravens are +140. They're the favorite. The Browns are +275. The Steelers 3.5 to 1, and the Bengals +475. Yeah. I would absolutely bet the Bengals in that spot.
You just got finished dog and breach for the Bengals not being very good.
5 to 1. The Bengals who are a game back in first place. Gimme with a bye coming up.
You actually do think that the Bengals.
Brinson's back on the Burrow train.
Interesting.
No, I wouldn't. I don't. If the Bengals were -125, I wouldn't bet it. But 5 to 1, and they like beat the.
Well, if you don't think they're going to win, you're just blowing money, though, right? So you have some sense of you like.
I think that they should be somewhere. I think it should be like +250, not 5 to 1.
Well, and the one thing about the Ravens is it kind of feels like the AFC's version of the Cowboys, where I'm not sure we know how good they are because of. Yes, they went in this game with a 3-1 record, but the first game of the season, they beat a rookie quarterback making his first career start. That was C.J. Stroud. Week 2, they beat the Bengals. Joe Burrow has 1 calf. Their other win was against the Browns when Deshaun Watson decided he couldn't play before the game. So you have another rookie quarterback making his first career start. So you've beaten 2 rookies making their first start ever and a quarterback with 1 calf. So what do we know?
We know that they're 3-2, and they're not very good.